Hey everybody, Matt and Alex back here to talk about another TV show. Better Call Saul's done. Got to find something else, right?
Yeah, a little TV show. Little TV show, I think.
Yeah, I mean, you probably heard about it. Probably heard about it coming on soon.
Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we'll get into it. Our past experiences with Game of Thrones, but I mean, they announced this a while back, and I had like no interest in returning. Probably like a
Yeah.
lot of people. And then slowly, as I was like, oh wow, they're filming it, and okay, shit, wow,
Oh, it's
they're
happening.
gonna release it. Okay, fuck. I mean, it slowly built back to like, I'll check it out. I'm kind of curious, and that's, I mean, obviously we watched it. I was like, I was interested to see it. I don't know what
Yeah.
you felt, but
Yeah, House of the Dragon. I was so uninterested. It's kind of like the Lord of the Rings series for me, where I'm sitting here and waiting for it to, like, Lord of the Rings comes out tomorrow. I'm just waiting for that dumpster fire to air. And that's how I felt about starting this. I was like, yep, let's see this dumpster fire. Let's watch it burn to the ground. But like you, I didn't want to return back to Westeros. I had really no no desire to
yeah,
go back. I was fine after, honestly, the Battle of the Bastards. From that point, it just went downhill.
yeah. I
But
mean, that's a big problem. I didn't feel it greatly watching House of the
yeah,
Dragon the first episode, but it's like I did feel it sometimes where it's like shit's not gonna matter. I mean, it all matters to the main story, but like the end of the main story is just so
yeah,
bad that it's like the ultimate payoff of the story is bad,
right,
and we're 200 years before the terrible payoff, So
right. So we got a long ways to go before this fire burns out.
yeah, yeah. So I don't know. It's gonna be an interesting watch, I'd say. I mean, going into it, not gonna lie, it did feel good to be back in Westeros for me. Like
Yeah,
when the dragons are flying over King's Landing and playing the music and shit. I mean, that's why I fell in love with the first series in the first place. Is like the
yeah,
world. The world was what got me. I mean, the deepness, like the epicness of it, and like the
yeah,
interconnectedness of it all. It made me read the books and stuff like that. So I wanted to dive into the lore, the world, and so I mean, it's nice to be back, I guess.
yeah. No, I agree. I was pleasantly surprised. I wasn't completely let down like I thought I'd be. It was nice after, a little bit once you get into it. Then they have their political gather around the table where I was like, all right, shit. I
Yeah,
I'm
there's
in. And
there's some
then
moves being made. I can see
yeah.
some intrigue here. Yeah,
Then of course the graphic violence, I was like, okay, all right, here we go. I was bummed out by a couple of things. I don't know if you want to get into that now or just,
yeah.
you know, I just thought
Um, I'll go ahead.
when we were like what you said, what was so great about about Game of Thrones when you first watch it is you go into this world and it feels real, feels authentic, because like the sets are kind of authentic and, in themselves. CGI was kind of bad in some of these scenes, like of the cities,
Really?
like where it mattered. It felt like those big aerial shots. It just looked like
Yeah,
crap, and I figured, maybe they would do what they did with Game of Thrones and actually, build the shit, make it practical, but
yeah. I mean,
gotta save money for the dragons. So
yeah, they're gonna have a lot of visual sequences with dragons. I'm
yeah,
assuming they're trying to pace out their budget. Like with Game of
yeah,
Thrones seasons later, they were like, no budget, no budget, no budget for 7 episodes. Then, oh shit, yeah, it's Battle of the Bastards.
yeah,
There's the budget. Like,
yeah,
I'm assuming they needed to probably pace this one out a little more with how much dragon action there probably be. The only
right,
time that really stood out to me was like, that wasn't great. Like the city stuff, I didn't really notice at all. Maybe I was just looking at the dragon or whatever. But
hmm,
it was when the dragon is like burning the corpses,
yeah.
like the fire of that. The dragon wasn't bad, but the fire of that, I was like,
It's the little things that it just looks not good.
yeah,
The dragons look great,
I
but it's
noticed
the
that
little
one.
things.
It's like whoever does the animation of the
Yeah,
dragon, like put in overtime, put in all that
yeah,
fucking work,
right.
made it so good. And then like the dude who was in charge of the fire is like some intern. Or like just
Yeah,
put the
right.
flames in there, man, and just like torches the shot literally. But like, no, I mean it wasn't. That was the only moment that really like stood out as like made me
Yeah,
jump out of it as far as CGI. Um, yeah, no,
yeah. No, I mean, I think it they like you can tell they're kind of tiptoeing. It feels like at least where they're like we have to be tied down tight with this because we fucked up so bad. Because it's like some of the original producers from Game of Thrones. Luckily, the Double D boys aren't with us
Yeah,
anymore.
no longer
Um,
with us. Yeah,
but it just felt like they were like, oh, we really need to make this good. So it felt super tight in terms of like the story
yeah,
and the characters. I really like the characters. I
yeah.
like,
I could get behind a lot of them. Yeah,
yeah, and like especially the king and the queen at the time. Like that whole sequence where it's with the kid, and he has to make that impossible decision, and
yeah.
then that impossible decision leads to the worst
Terrible
possible outcome,
outcome.
and
Yeah,
that's obviously what forges everything going
yeah.
forward. And it's just moments in time like that are just crazy. So that's kind of like, I don't know, I was in
Hmm.
when that moment happened. That's when I was like, okay,
Yeah.
this is good. This is
That.
grounded in terms of, I don't know, it just
Yeah.
felt more authentic than.
Well, that's like kind of that moment. I kind of had a similar reaction of like I'm in back into Game of Thrones world, but not in a way of like oh, those the characters and the in the world. I was like, wow, they're yeah. Game of Thrones is like shocking and it's like
Mm,
relevant in a weird way, even though it takes place in the past.
yeah,
And like that scene brought it home that like you're gonna watch something that's like HBO quality still. It's not just
right.
like lore for like George R. R. Martin's sake or whatever. It's
Mhm.
like we're gonna make compelling TV for you still, which is
Right.
what I got because that scene was horrible. It was terrible to watch, dude. Like the
Oh
actress
yeah,
brought it. Like it was like hard to experience. It was yeah,
definitely.
and the choice was very like you could tell what choice was gonna be made, and then
Hmm.
the repercussions of that. Yeah, it's just yeah, it makes you sad, but
Yeah, it's in juxt. I can't say the word.
juxtap.
Paired with paired with the brutal jousting match happening at the same
Yeah,
time. It's just
that was
like, man,
nice. That was good, like cross cutting,
yeah.
and
So
you can tell that they're like trying to harken back to Game of Thrones, even in like the pilot writing.
right,
Like they have the joust, they have the tourney, and
yeah,
they're trying to show you like promise with this show of like some of the things are gonna.
right.
I mean, if we, yeah, I mean they can get
We
into the
still got it.
prophecy. Like I don't know if
Right.
how deep into the lore you are.
Meh.
I went. I took a huge dive when I was
Yeah.
into Game of Thrones. Yeah, and I've already kind of. I watched like an Alt Shift X video again about Hot D House of the Dragon.
Hmm.
And I don't know if you watch Alt Shift X. He just like breaks down Game of Thrones shit. But so I'm kind of getting back into the lore a little bit. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, I'm like I said, I was pleasantly surprised. I'm along for the ride. I'd like to see where this goes. It's kind of nice. It was nice having these new characters. I mean, they're somewhat new. I mean, the Targaryens,
Yeah,
but of course they had to tie in the winter thing, so it's like, okay, this is
that's like the new info that was dropped. I guess is like Aegon's conquest when he came to take over Westeros. They didn't know it was because he saw the vision of the White Walkers, but now
yeah,
it's so it's like they're trying to give you new stuff too with a prequel. I don't know.
yeah,
We'll see if it can like how much new stuff they're bringing or how much it's just gonna like be a chapter in time of Targaryens.
yeah,
I'm curious.
yeah. And I mean, all the casting choices were pretty solid. I wasn't sure about what's his name, Matt Smith.
Yeah, I liked
He's
him. He sold it for
yeah,
me.
he did. He was all in. I mean,
Yeah,
he was. It brought me back to the good old Game of Thrones times when he called his brother. I think he called his brother a cunt or whatever. And I was like, all right, we're back into Game of Thrones.
yeah,
It just that felt warm and fuzzy for me. As weird as that sounds, but it was just like it just felt like old times where I would just kick back and enjoy the Hound calling people cunts all the time, and it's just yeah.
yeah. There was
I don't
some
know.
good like old medieval dialogue that was landing again. Like brought me
Yeah,
back like that stuff. Like with the king for a day or the heir for a day or whatever.
yeah,
Just that phrase. I mean, that's what sets off the brothers like
yeah,
banishing or whatever. But yeah, it's just like savagery in that time, and it's just nice to. I don't know, it's a cool world, cool story.
yep.
So,
Back to being the world of power and greed.
yeah,
It's great.
it can't be Game of Thrones though without like. I mean, we'll see how much gratuitous fucking sex and violence there'll be. They jammed it in, dude. Like, first off, like just people getting their dicks cut off, just
Oh
straight
yeah,
up. And just like
just a
okay,
quick
man.
castration, real quick.
Yeah. And then when Damon's in the brothel after everything goes down,
Yeah.
there's like he's about to like give a speech or whatever, and then
Did you see the butthole?
no, it's just straight up.
No, I
No.
saw a butthole.
Oh wow, no, I missed
Yeah,
that one. I
I thought that
saw
was a little bizarre.
I saw the two people like middle frame, like literally like bent over. I was just like, and they're like framed perfectly in the middle, so it had to have been
They
like,
just stopped to listen.
yeah, they're just like looking, not not moving. I was like, this must be a joke for the audience,
Oh
like
yeah,
at how
just
gratuitously dumb this looks. But I don't
just
know. Yeah,
docked in, not moving.
and just like totally interested in the convo though, like nothing. Like, oh yeah, Damon's talking, my boy. Yeah, gotta listen.
Here, I'll stop what I'm doing real quick. This is much more important.
All right. Yeah,
That's
the casting choices. Yeah, I thought they're all pretty good. I liked Viserys a lot too,
yeah.
because Patty Considine, he's in like Hot Fuzz and that kind of movie,
Yeah.
that vein.
Yeah.
It was nice to see him like get his dramatic turn.
Yeah,
He
definitely.
did it pretty well. And I'm like Otto Hightower as a character. I
Hmm.
think he adds like some intrigue, some like descent into the
Right.
cast of characters that we have. Rice is, holy fuck, how do you say his name? It's Rice Siphons. I don't know, but that's the actor.
Yeah.
Well known, and I think he'll probably do pretty good with it. He seems kind of like Tywin too, like
Yeah.
playing some cards, obviously.
A little bit of the conflict coming in.
Yeah, and then Rhaenyra, I think they change actresses half like soon, but I thought the young actress did pretty good, and I'm assuming she's like the hero we're going to be following for the
I
show.
think so. Yeah.
I don't know all of the lore. I know a lot of it, but I don't really know like the end. So I don't really know who's going to win. So I don't
Yeah.
know if I want to find that out. I probably will
This is
eventually, but
this is based on his book Fire and Blood.
yeah,
Yeah. See, I bought
it's
that book and I loaned it to a friend. Never got it back, so I have not read it yet.
yeah. Neither has that friend probably. So
Yeah, probably not.
yeah, yeah. It's
But
supposed to be like a history book, like written by a maester. So it's
yeah.
like unreliable narration type of thing, and we're gonna be watching the objective truth in the show. So there's a lot of like, I don't know. If you're into Game of Thrones, I'm sure that this show is kind of teasing you a little bit, like it is me.
Yeah.
I could see it not landing for some people. Overall, I don't know if it's like the most interesting time to choose for your second project, like the follow up to Game of Thrones.
Hmm.
There's like a lot of more interesting times you could have done first, like Aegon's conquest in general, and like I really want to see like the Doom of Valyria, which
Yeah.
is like 1,000 years in the past or something like that. Um, and this is just kind of like a lot of Targaryens beefing.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
mean, we'll see. I mean, I'm sure there's gonna be like twists and backstabs and shit like that. I just wonder if like the underlying theme is just overall gonna be like men versus women type of like,
That's
can
what
a
I
woman
hope.
hold can be the queen or hold the throne?
Yeah, that's my fear. I feel like it doesn't have to be like that because it's its own fantasy world.
Yeah, I
Right.
mean that's why I like Game of Thrones though, is because it's so relevant to our world, like compared to Lord of the Rings, where I'm like I don't even know where the fuck this shit is taking place, like,
Yeah.
and there's gods that are in Gandalf's body or some shit, but like all of Game of Thrones is like a parallel to our history with
Yeah.
some fantasy shit. So I understand it. I just don't really want to be like muddled down the whole series with like a woman can never be queen. You don't you fucking
Yeah.
get it? And I want to see that theme played out, but I just don't want it to be like heavy-handed. That's kind of what I worry about. But
Yeah. No, I agree. It's
like,
yeah.
will
I
it
don't know.
will it boil down just again to like ambition, like the Game of Thrones theme? Like
Yeah.
ambition and betrayal. I'm assuming that's kind of just where it'll land eventually. But we'll see.
Yeah,
I
I guess
guess.
we'll have to see. I think I
You
was pleasantly
you said you're
surprised.
in
So
though. Like you're in for the you're
yeah,
in
I'm
for
in
the
for the
run.
long haul. I'll be watching it weekly.
Nice. I think I might
Uh,
too. Yeah. For
yeah.
now at least, I will.
Yeah. Hopefully it stays strong, keeps my interest, but so far so good.
Yeah. And I know they said that they only plan for like 3 to 4 seasons, which
Oh,
kind
really?
of gives me motivation to watch because I think that's like the right time.
Yeah, that's a good, comfortable.
Yeah.
I mean, look what they did. 8 seasons, they fucked it up. So
Yeah, and I don't know. They probably needed those 8 seasons for Game of Thrones' storytelling, but this is just like a chapter or like a couple chapters of the history. Game of
yeah,
Thrones is like the Song of Ice and Fire, the epic,
right. But then
But this is
the
just
epic that's not finished. So
right. They were like,
yeah,
we need 12 seasons so we can get more time here to
yeah,
fucking get
right.
this book
Wait,
out.
wait for Mr. Martin to fucking
Yeah,
finish his job.
yeah, that's crazy,
Yeah,
man. I know he's like more heavily involved in this show now too.
yeah, I read that too.
If that's good, if that's bad, I don't. I guess it depends on what you want him to work
Yeah,
on.
what
But
you want him to get done first. Yeah,
yeah, um,
yeah, I feel that.
but yeah, I'm in. Yeah, we could. I would probably do weekly chats, and then maybe we can do like a fantasy talk or something where it's like Lord of the Rings and House of the Dragon, and kind of
Sure.
talk about both of them.
That,
I'll probably
that'll
watch
probably be the
both.
only reason I continue Lord of the Rings after the first episode.
Wow, you don't
is
even
to-
know, dude. It could be great.
I don't have high hopes. I
Yeah,
think it's gonna be.
yeah,
I mean, they just took the works of Tolkien and they're just doing what they want with it, and I don't know. I just you have the Peter Jacksons who are just like we want to honor his work. The
yeah.
greatest fantasy ever written. The father of fantasy. I mean, I don't agree that it's the greatest fantasy ever written. Don't get me wrong. I think there's some of the greatest movies, but the idea of honoring his work and doing it to his, I just figured that's what you would want. I mean, and it worked out, but
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, they know how much they have to live up to, like the
yeah,
pressure. So you wouldn't push forward unless you're confident. I say that, but they've done that with every project you watch nowadays. They're not.
yeah,
They just do
they
it.
just do it.
Yeah.
I mean, this one is what Lord of the Rings is 28 million an episode. Shit.
Jesus, man, that's insane. They paid $1 billion for it, right?
Oh, yeah.
Amazon.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, I'll tune in. Maybe we'll talk about it next time.
Yeah.
If
I'll chat
you're
about it.
watching House of the Dragon, come by every week and listen.
Yeah. Let us know what you think. See if it's dog shit.
Yeah.
Tell us it's dog shit. Tell us why.
Yeah, right. All right, later, guys.
But, yeah.